Good morning to everyone who's joined in for this presentation today. Thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to do this. Guys, just a short introduction. My name's Brendan van Niekerk. I head up the CPVC division at a company called Flow-Tek Pipes Irrigations. And that's why I'm here today, is to introduce a nice new innovative product which we have launched into the market here in South Africa. The product that we're talking about today is Flow-Tek FlowGuard CPVC plumbing systems. Now, briefly, CPVC is very similar to UPVC, with the main difference being it has an additional 10% worth of chlorine in. That extra 10% of chlorine gives us a couple of features and benefits which are useful for the plumbing industry as such. Start off with a quick product overview on the product. It's a hot and cold water plumbing system, which is easy to install and provides us a sustainable plumbing solution. We follow to certain standards, both here and internationally, with the BOBS, which is Botswana standard, running ISO 15877, as well as SANS 15877, and there is JASWIC approval on it. We also follow a very set of stringent quality tests to make sure that this product remains reliable and safe, as well providing us a very good cost-saving principle. Features and benefits of our CPVC hot and cold water system is, to start with, it is a hot and cold water application. So we can run 20 bar pressure worth of cold water into our system. Our fittings are actually rated at 25 bar. It is corrosion resistant. Meaning apart from corrosion, it has no scale buildup or anything with inside the pipe. It has an exceptional UV resistance, but we obviously need to follow the standards set out by SANS and the SABS as far as that is concerned. Very high chlorine resistance compared to other thermoplastics in the market. It is extremely easy to store, which I will demonstrate shortly. It's a cost-effective solution as opposed to copper, and extremely competitive when it comes to other thermoplastics on the markets because of its ease of installation. It also has an advanced insulating property, which means compared to other thermoplastics in the market, the product has less requirement for lagging in cold environments. We have a lot less heat loss with CPVC than you would have, for instance, with something like polyprop or polybutylene. It has been tried and tested for over 50 years. In actual fact, over 60 years. The first residential installation was done in 1960. Because it is a vinyl, it is also has an exceptionally smooth surface internally, so you have a much lower friction loss running on the product. And because of the way that the product is made and our international counterparts which supply our raw material and so on, there is extreme emphasis put on human safety as far as this is concerned, for the principle of chemicals leaching from the pipe or fittings back into potable water supply. The maximum temperature that CPVC can handle is 95 degrees. In a hot water application, we would be looking at about 2 to 3 bar at 95 degrees. The general running temperature of the product is 70 degrees Celsius with a 10 bar pressure rating, and the life expectancy on that would be 50 years plus. Installation is really, really simple. We sit with 3 tools that are required: a reputable pipe cutter, a chamfering or deburring tool, and the most important part, which is the CPVC solvent cement. I want to put emphasis on this at this point. I might do it again, but it is imperative that we use FlowGuard CPVC solvent cement on this product. Your other cements do not work. Any type of UPVC cement does not have the solvents within it in order to break down the properties of the raw material. So it's quite simple. It's cut, Apply solvent cement to both sides and put it into the fitting, do a quarter turn, hold it in place for around about 30 seconds. The cement is fast setting, so within 30 to 45 seconds, you will be sitting with a join that cannot be moved anymore. It will be set in place. What we generally recommend is in ambient temperatures of above 15 degrees C on your smaller sizes, your 16s, your 20s, your 25s. Let the product stand for around about an hour before you do a 10-bar hydrostatic pressure test. The product is widespread as to where it could be used. Apartments, townhouses, universities, actually any place where there is a possibility of a hot and cold water plumbing system being required. It has been used at some large international facilities, Charles de Gaulle Airport. It has been used at the Burj Khalifa Hotel in Dubai. So it has been around, as I pointed out before, for a long time. It's just relatively new tech for the South African market. I just quickly want to run through some of the questions that have popped up with us for this product so far in the past, which I think might cover a lot of the queries that some of you will have with regards to this product. I've already touched base on the fact that it's an easy installation to join, and the point that there is only one type of cement that you can use for joining this. One of the questions that pops up is, do you need to use a primer or a cleaner? It is not essential, but I always tend to recommend using a cleaner of some sort to put on the pipe, and the fitting does tend to break it down. The cleaners very often have solvents inside similar to that of the cement in the first place, which starts breaking down the process and just gives you a more even, solid join. How do you transition from CPVC to copper? Flow-Tek has a full range of fittings, which runs from a 16 millimeter right up to 63 millimeter solvent, as well as 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and we are in development on a 1 inch brass DZR insert fitting, which we allow for transition. It's a high quality product which allows us to integrate the product with any other thermoplastic or ferrous alternative in the market by means of a mechanical thread joint. The question that always comes up is, can you connect CPVC directly to the geyser? And unfortunately not. Same as with any other thermoplastic in the market. It is laid out by the SABS that we have to have 1.5 meter principle so that we can allow for copper before we get in for heat principles. I've touched on that CPVC has been around in actual fact for over 60 years, and there's over 300 million meters of the pipe being installed worldwide. The solvent cement set and cure times, as you'll see on your screen at the moment, there is a small chart there to give you an idea based on pipe diameter as well as temperature as to what we should be doing before we do our hydrostatic pressure test. As you can see, in colder environments, anything under 15 degrees C, we should be running a little bit longer, around about 2 hours for doing the hydrostatic pressure test. How does CPVC's expansion in hot water compare to other plastic systems? It has a better lower thermal expansion coefficient than other thermoplastics, but in longer distances in ceilings or extended buildings, there would be a need for expansion loops to cater for this principle. We have got a small chart over here, which I'm sure Karim and them can make available if it is needed, which is with regard to exactly that principle of expansion loops, based on the principle of, as the temperature variation between your hottest and coldest point changes by 20, 60, or 80 degrees Celsius, you can actually determine where you would have to put your loops and what the length of them would need to be. if there is any further detail or more technical information for this, I will always be available to discuss it at length. When it comes to the certification, Flow-Tek has taken the stance of sending our product directly to ANOR in Spain for the SANS 15877 certification. So it has been certified by ANOR and carries the SANS mark here in South Africa. Up in Africa, it would be more revolved around the ISO 15877 mark. And as you can see, we are also members of JASWIC, as well as our SABS certification for being ISO accredited factories. And guys, I think that kind of wraps up the principle that we have. As you can see, it is a very simple product. There is nothing really difficult about it. Anybody that has been dealing with UPVC, be it for a soil and vent principle, be it for high pressure installations or water purifications, already has the general background of the installation of this product. Also quickly want to point out that we as a company are looking at providing a sustainable solution for the African market. And we are looking at running with this for a long time. I know there's a lot of guys out there that there have been products in the market before that have come in, and then because of kind of fly-by-night principles, it tends to dry up and fittings are no longer available. That's definitely not our point. We want to create a product in South Africa that's suitable for our market and really checks all the boxes. And we want to be around here for a long time. Karim, I don't know if I can switch back to you now.
Yes, thank you very much, Brendan, for this informative session. I believe there are no questions from the attendees. Steve, is there anything you'd like to add or ask about?
Yeah, Brendan, in terms of availability of products, in terms of, outlets and where can it be found? Where are your main sort of distribution points, etc.?
Well, thanks, Steve. That's a good question. To start off, the product is produced in Botswana. So we've got a factory over there, which has massive capacity available for whatever demand there comes. And then we have recently tied up with Plumlink as a group. So as it stands right now, we've rolled out inland in basically catering for all the Plumlink stores from Messina to Kimberley. There's about 67 of them, are all stocking FlowGuard CPVC at the moment. It is not an exclusive relationship with Plumlink as far as supply is concerned, but as yet we are still in the process of developing relationships with other merchants, with other distributors throughout South Africa.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan. Then in terms of, you got all the approval and everything else, if the guys were looking at, they were down in the Cape or KZN or whatever, because we've got a large group of individuals that are here. Obviously, they can make contact with you, or can they make the requests at, Plumlink's or on taps in terms of getting all the details and the information?
Yeah, Plumlink at this stage will have all the information is there, but anybody is welcome to contact me directly. I really don't mind if my details are flooded on the internet. Can contact me directly. If there's any information, any certification, whatever, we're here to represent the FlowGuard brand. For me, it's more about the product than it is about the company. So I really want to be involved with anything I possibly can.
No, that's super, Brendan, because I think, I just want to reiterate what you're saying. I think, we see so many systems coming into the markets, and, the plumbers being caught with their pants down so often in terms of purchasing the product, and the backup's not there, or it's come in a container and has been distributed. And our biggest challenge comes in, for the maintenance guy, who doesn't even know what he's going to expect when he gets to site. So, you open up and you find, these products, and trying to find adapters, or trying to go and source the materials becomes a massive challenge. Obviously, a cost, frustration to the consumer and everything else. So it really is good to see that you've got that backup in place, and your vision is to be here. And I just want to commend you on your presentation, because again, we see a lot of product coming in, and you've been very honest and upfront in terms of it being very specific in terms of how it should be applied, etc., etc. And I think that's one of the key things that we have is that, products you can put anywhere. And, when you're putting it up and you're emphasizing the standards, I think is one thing that we really are attuned to, is making sure that the installations comply and they are adapted and installed in the correct manner. Just one thing, in terms of your ODs, a couple of composite materials out there, they can use compression fittings on those. On your system, I'm obviously going that certainly not.
No, definitely not, Steve. We have the ODs which follow suit along with the standard cold water thermoplastics in the market. So your 16s, 20s, 25s, and not the thermoplastics which have followed your brass or copper principle at 15, 22, and so on. The vinyls generally are not ideal for using compression fittings on. I've done some tests over the years with standard UPVC and specific compression fittings. In certain cases, they bite, but the mechanical principle is not ideal. And we really take the stance of promoting a system rather than an individual product. I understand, and I know there's going to be plumbers out there which don't like the fact that there is only one type of solvent cement that you can use on this product, because there's only so much you can do as a merchant to protect that a product is being installed correctly. There's a lot of guys that are loyal to other brands of cement and have been for many years. And we are somewhat concerned that because of the loyalty to a specific type of cement, that cement might be used in the wrong application with CPVC. But we are driving a system principle. It's FlowGuard cement, FlowGuard pipe and fittings, even to the extent that our cement, which is manufactured by Easeweld in America, they source the same CPVC raw material from the same raw material company as up in Belgium, hence why their product carries the FlowGuard name. But no, we are not like the other guys where you can integrate directly into compression fittings from one plastic to another ferrous product.
Yeah. So in essence, I mean, and you're quite within your rights. I mean, you understand that, using all of the relevant materials for it is going to give you a compliant or a guaranteed product, in terms of the deliverables and how long it's going to be in the marketplace for. So you can't, guarantee a system where the guys use another sort of solvent to join it and then it fails and it becomes an issue. So I think that's just one of the things that as the plumbers, and I think, most, yes, we've got preferences to A, B, or C, but if we're putting a product in and it requires A, B, and C, then I think the plumbers are quite au fait with doing that and ensuring that they're going to provide a service to the consumer that's going to last and enhance the product. So that's great, Brendan. Thanks very much. Kareem, I did see that you put Brendan's details up there on the chat. Any other questions? I see we've had from Kurt there down the Cape, just asking for the contact details, and we can basically share that. Anything else, Brendan, on your side? I think thank you very much for getting up early this morning and delivering. And thank you so much.
Not a problem. Thanks so much, Steve. And really, I appreciate you guys giving us this opportunity.